Hello, hello there. Welcome back to the GYO Grow Your Own Piano course. This is lesson 3, Ways of Motion, part 2. We're going to be talking today about, again, ways to move up and down this thing and all around it. The scales that we're going to be looking at, i.e., scales, as we remember, are the different ways of moving around. Today are two of the sort of bread and butter of music today in general, in the West at least, and those are major and minor scales. A lot of variations can be derived from these, but if you learn these fundamental shapes, you'll be set up for jamming with anybody, basically. Um, as we remember, octaves are the same note at different levels. Scales we can think of as ways of traveling between these similar notes, or we could call them bass tones. If you think about, I'm kind of basing a song off this tone. I'm going to start here. This is my ground floor. This is my starting point. And we've all heard the major scale, I'm sure, in elementary school somewhere, but let's just review what it sounds like in case you just want to get it through sound, or in case you just want to be able to sing it. If you can sing it, you can play it. That is a real good rule. It might take a little work, but if you can sing it, you can figure out how to play it most likely. So, since we're a course that's based on less on visual reading and more on internalizing, feeling, hearing, and then externalizing, jamming, I'm going to start off with just playing the sounds and you can get them. Last time we had, if you recall, the chromatic scale, which is just going up one note at a time. It's got a certain feel to it. I'm falling. You hear that at a cartoon or something. We did the whole tone scale with our little warm-up hand pattern. Like I'm tripping or going to space or something. It's a very open sound. And now we're going to do the major scale, the classic do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do sound that you hear on The Sound of Music, and probably in, as I said, elementary school band or something if you did that. I'm going to start on the bottom. Well, let's just, for the sake of sound, if you want, go to the two black keys. Find the two black keys, go right below that. That note is a C. A lot of traditional Western harmony starts with that, or traditional music education. It's so easy to play a major scale from that point because you just hit white notes. So you've all heard that. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. I don't know it backwards. Oh. Okay. All right. That sound is great. How do we make that sound? We've got a little pattern that we follow. So instead of just doing the white keys, because those are kind of easy, you totally can, but I'd like you to internalize what the actual pattern is so you can then play it from any point. Starting on any note, you can do the same pattern. Let's go to our F sharp. That's the quote-unquote polar opposite of the C, or it's the farthest note away from C that we have. And to play them together, to go to our C, I'm not even going to do that to you. It's a weird sound to jump to the furthest possible note. It's dissonant is what they call it. It's kind of grating, but you'll want to use it later. So here we go. Let me play it. Let's get demonic in here. Remember, I tell you, this is about feelings. So think, what are these feelings? What do they feel like? We're going to start from always remembering that. It's not about memorizing this note, that note. It's what does that pattern feel like? From body to pattern to feeling and back around the cycle. Okay, our major scale. Starting on, again, like I said, always get yourself well positioned. Take a breath. Relax your limbs. Make sure your wrists are good and supple and straight. And let's start on our F sharp, our bottom of the three black keys. The major scale is made up of a pattern that you can summarize in terms of the steps that you take as two, that's two half steps or a whole step, but let's just go individual steps. So 2 steps, 2 steps, 1 step, 2 steps, 2 steps, 2 steps, 1 step. Now we're back at our F sharp. We've moved between the two notes and it feels a certain way. Alright, go ahead and try that on your own. Stop if you need to, take a break. I have fingering charts below there, and they will tell you which finger to use. So, real quick note about fingering charts, side note, they generally start with in terms of depth, the bottom of, it'll be the left side of each hand is 1. So pinky and thumb are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's a lot of numbers I'll be dealing with here, trying to get them mixed up. We have the number of spaces between the notes, and then the numbering system of the fingers that we will just use to know which finger to use as we're playing it. So notice I didn't start with the F sharp. I didn't start with my thumb. You could, but what I did is start with my first finger, just like we had it on our first little pattern. And I did a little, when I go 1, 2, 3. Okay, I'm kind of out of fingers. I could use my pinky, but it's a little awkward to hit that 2, 2, 1. I'm crossing under now. So I got my ring finger down, and I'm crossing my thumb under to go 1 space above where my ring finger is, to what's called a B. Doesn't matter, but just in case those who are interested in that stuff. Now I'm going to put my thumb on the B. Now I've got the whole rest of my hand to keep going up. So I'm going to put my next finger, and then this is another one where we're going to jump under, because if I just landed again with my ring finger there on the note right before the F sharp, I would be kind of stuck. It would be awkward to then keep going up. So under, under. And it's really nice with the black keys to go under to a white key, because the black keys are up towards the top and the white keys are towards the bottom, and that's just how your thumb lies with in relation to your piano. The thumb is easier to hit these bottom notes. So you don't have to really remember any particular rule with this. It's just ergonomically what feels best to you, but there are some excellent patterns that you can learn for how to move that have been pretty well established as being the ideal or best way to get around. Like, if you're walking or you're running, there's kind of like a way to do it that you're not tripping on yourself. You can get creative. You can do all kinds of running. You can skip. You can do a million different things. But, the basic mechanics of the human body dictate certain kind of motions make more sense than others. So, for our major scale, in F sharp, there's little, you can kind of make a tune out of it. The pattern of spaces. So 2, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 1. 2, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 1. However you best remember that, write it down, sing it, whatever. 2, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 1. It's a nice, simple little pattern you can make with that. All right, so that's your major scale. You can do that starting on any note if you just follow that pattern. 2, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 1. Cool. We got the major scale. Awesome. If you want to spend some time, pause the video, go practice that. Look at those fingering charts, because you really want to be careful how you're fingering the scales. I'm not going to sort of baby talk you through each of them, although please let me know if that's something you like. I was thinking about doing like practice session videos where we really break down how to play each scale, get into the, as I said, ergonomics of motion a little bit more. If that's something that interests you, please just let me know and we'll make that happen. That can totally be done. But for right now, I trust you'll be able to practice that on your own, and with the resources that I've included below, if you have any ounce of self-drive, you will just go ahead and take those. Don't even turn on a metronome for this first time. Just get the feeling and just figure out what works best for you. What's the best way to move? If the patterns we include down below don't work for you, figure your own stuff out. Check with the piano teacher if you can. Make sure you're not messing up your wrist. Just remember that rule that you don't want to be twisting your wrists to the sides too much, or having them in any direction too much too often. So yeah, that causes strain, and we just do not want to have strain or tension if we can possibly avoid them. All right, our fourth scale. Look, we're pretty moving along here. We've got 4 different patterns of motion that by the end of this video we will have access to, and will pretty much give us the ability to play all of the music in the world. It really, there are Indian scales that have notes in between the half notes called quarter tones. There are a lot of different. There's a million ways to slice a pie, but you'll have the basic ones. So our major scale, if we simply start it on another note, has a very different feeling. So we started this one on the F sharp. No, let's go back to our C scale. So. That is, again, right below the 2 black keys, starting there, playing all white keys. If we go back to that, and we go down 2 notes from the C, 2 white keys from the C, and we make this note our starting point. That is what's called an A. It's the note that is right below our top one of our 3 black keys. So we've got our 3 black keys, right below the top one, that's an A. Now, from an A, if we make that the starting point, start hearing that A in your head, go up and find the other A's on the keyboard if you can. So go to your 3 black keys, go right below the top one, find another A. 3 black keys right below the top one, find another A. Go all the way down to the bottom, 3 black keys, find the top one, go right below it, got our A. Alright, we've got A's all over the place. So from these A's, now if we only play white keys, we're playing what's called the minor scale. There are different types of minor scale. You should know this one's called the natural minor scale, but this is the main minor scale. It's easiest to remember because, as I said, you can just go down 2 steps or 2 notes, 2 white keys from the C, and make your minor scale. So hit those just to give us our tonality, grounding tonality, and I'll start on this A. Now you'll often hear if the major is kind of a light and happy feeling. The minor is a little darker and a little more, mysterious, depressive, moody. Right? Cool, real cool. I'd say if you learn any scale first, start with the minor scale just to switch it up. But really, they're the same scale, just starting on 2 different points. All right. So what is the pattern of the minor? We can deduce it from just looking at the A. So let's go up from the A. What do we do? 2 spaces to the next white key. It's 1 space to the white key after that. Another 2 spaces to the next white key. Another 2 spaces to the next white key. 1 space after that. Another 2 and another 2. So what's the pattern? 2, 1, 2, 2, 1, 2, 2. Again, use a little melody if you want to remember that. 2, 1, 2, 2, 1, 2, 2. And then major 2, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 1. However you want to do it. Write it down, take notes, bang it into your head with a melody, inscribe it on your, I don't care what you do, whatever. All right, so we've got 2 different scales that are really the fundamental building blocks of most of the songs that we're going to play. Practice those, get a feel for them, start them on every key that you can. Try it. You will be a much better piano player if you do not just stick to 1 key and learn it in 1 key and start messing with 1 key. I want you to be able, that's why I didn't start with the C, because I want you to be able to translate that pattern to any key. If you can do that, you can jam with anybody. You'll have a great time. You won't be hitting the transpose button like some people do. And, that works if you're just, you're really comfortable in E flat, say, like a lot of gospel cats I hear are good, killing in the flat keys and will just use like transpose button. Not just gospel cats, but we want to avoid that if we can. We want to be as not don't avoid gospel. Gospel is some of the most amazing music. Avoid relying on the transpose button. So get all these keys under your fingers as soon as possible, and you will be able to run up and down the scales of life with abandon and with fluidity and with agility. Thank you guys for joining me. I love y'all. I really hope your journey towards piano stardom and guitar rock god status is starting off on the right foot. So let's do this.